Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you today. So as we start, I just wanted to take a moment to tell you that I'm thrilled to be here. And as I look across this audience, I actually don't think it's an audience. It's a group of creators, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, storytellers. And one of the most important things is how do you make money from your craft? So today, as we embark upon this journey, I'm going to talk about the business component of what you do and how you bring to your customers that you activate with every single moment, how you reach them in the forums that you touch on a constant basis. And just a show of hands in the room, how many people here have struggled with how to turn their creation into a moment of sale and monetize their brand? Thank you. Great. So I believe that's fundamentally because of the fact that commerce and creation are disconnected. Today, when you create in apps and in surfaces like Canva, you're moving into a different surface, into a different forum altogether to get paid. And so that creates an extremely disjointed and fragmented experience for your customers. And today, I'm here to share with you that PayPal, in partnership with Canva, is changing that and bringing commerce and creation together. So I'm thrilled to announce payment links within the Canva ecosystem. And what it fundamentally enables you to do is create, share, and get paid instantaneously. So let me show you how it works. Within the Canva ecosystem, if you log into the App Store and you type in payment links, you're instantaneously taken to the PayPal product, which if you sign in with your PayPal business account or create an account instantaneously, you're then able, within the same creation framework that you use today, to add all the information about your creation and your design, and it automatically generates a QR code, a button, or a link for you to distribute to your customers within Canva. So you don't have to do any extra steps. There are no extra sort of fees associated with this. What it really does is it enables you then to meet your customers in the forums that you meet them today. You can email them, you can use social media, you can text them, all instantaneously. And from that link, you're able to get paid from PayPal, from Venmo, from credit cards, and be able to add buy now, pay later capabilities as well for customers that want to split payments over multiple periods of time. So that is what we are launching. We're thrilled to be part of this with Canva. And this is what it looks like when creation and design really come together for customers in a very seamless way. With that, what I wanted to do was introduce a wonderful group of panelists who are here with me today that are going to help us bring this to life and talk about how they brought monetization into creation seamlessly. So with that, I'd love to introduce Shay Anthony, Andrea Love, and Julian Shapiro Barnum to the stage. Hey, guys.
Hi. How's everybody doing? Hi. Thanks for coming to this talk.
So I am going to have my panelists do a bit of their own introduction as we kind of go through this, because I want you to hear about their journeys, what they've done in and around creation. But I'm also, when they introduce themselves, also want them to add another question, which was, what was the moment that most sort of sparked your creativity that led you to believe that you could create a business from what you've been doing? So Julian, I'm going to pass it over to you to start.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Julian Shapiro Barnum. I'm a comedian, writer, and interviewer. I have a couple of shows online. The first one's called Recess Therapy. It's a show where I interview kids all around New York. I was going to say the world, but that's not true. Canada once. But I interview kids about like life's biggest questions. I have another show called Celebrity Substitute, where I have celebrities go into public elementary schools around New York City, like A$AP Rocky, Billie Eilish, and spend a day teaching. And then this, I was going to say this summer, but like in 2 months, I'm launching the internet's first late night show with YouTube. So that's going to be cool. And I have a book coming out, so read that in August. But when did I know I could make it into a business? I don't know. That's a hard question. I went to theater school. I studied playwriting and acting, and like there was never a world where it wasn't going to be. But I think, I started Recess Therapy at the end of my senior year of college during COVID, and I, within 6 months, it's weird. It's only 5 years ago, but like we were one of the first like big interview on the streety New York interview shows that now there's a bajillion of them. But like within 5 or 6 months of doing it, we brands were reaching out and asking to work with us, and I think that was when I was like, oh, okay, I can stop doing freelance work and really devote everything to this. Does that answer the question?
That is a perfect answer to the
Take it
question.
away.
That's amazing. Andrea, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Andrea Love, and I am a stop motion animator from Port Townsend, Washington. I have been at this for about 15 years now. I'm completely self-taught, and all of my work is almost exclusively out of needle felted wool. I do short films, music videos, social media content. I've done an online class, and a couple of years ago, I started a game company called Woolly Games, and we are making a felted stop motion game called Feltopia, which is all about felting.
That's amazing.
Oh, and so yeah, I mean, the origin story of what I do is, pretty much right out of college in 2011, I was teaching myself how to animate. I was just kind of doing it in my bedroom, in my closet, wherever I could figure out sort of how to set up a stage. And I started working with local businesses. That was where I got my foot in the door. I just sort of was, just taking on these small jobs, learning on the job, and eventually started posting on social media. And like Julian, it was sort of like when the brand started reaching out, and that was sort of like the moment that it went from sort of a passion career to an actual
And you knew you could
profitable
take it to the next
business.
thing.
Yes.
Shay, what about you?
Hi, my name's Shay Anthony. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I started She Is This in 2018, so it's been a while now. I wanted to celebrate women of color, women that look like me, brown, black, and I didn't see myself represented when I would go into big box stores. At the time, I was doing interior decorating, and I remember walking into like a Home Goods, and it's, again, 2018, and being surprised to finally see black and brown girls in the art. And at that moment, I had already knew I had the business acumen. It was just finally now I had something that I knew I could put a passion behind. And I think the moment that I solidified it for me is when I started selling prints, and I would have people DM me and say, I bought a print, I put it in my daughter's room, and she said, Mommy, that looks like me. And that was it. And from that moment on, I knew that was where my passion was. And so I've just been doing that ever since.
Love it. Okay, I'm going to come back to Julian. So, Julian, you've talked about stumbling upon something extraordinary in the work that you've done. How have you thought about building your brand and staying true to that brand on this journey?
Fabulous question. Thank you so much. Yeah. How do I think about my brand? I think I don't think about it like a brand. I think that's kind of how I've been thinking about it in relationship to this question. Like, I think everything that I make and have made, even before anybody else was watching it, came from this like very real need to tell a story, ask a question. And I think people respond well to authenticity and genuine curiosity and artistic practice. And I think in that, I've been able to build my audience. I'll give an example. Like when I started recess therapy in college, I was, it was coming out of the pandemic in 2021, and I was very unhappy and was doing online school and was pretty miserable. And the reason and every week I would go out and like interview people about something different that I just was kind of curious about. Probably because I couldn't hang out with people, and so I brought it to the world. And then, like at the very end of my senior year, I went to a playground and I asked all these kids about like how they found happiness during this hard time, and their answers were like mind blowing. And I was genuinely kind of taken aback by what they were saying. And I think in that moment, I went, "Oh, okay, this is interesting. What if I made a list of everything that I was struggling with as a 21-year-old? All the things that I was like, climate change, anger, are there aliens? Like all these big questions." And then, big 21-year-old problems, are there aliens? And I went out, and every single week, without fail, I would interview kids about it. And I think people started to relate to that and like wanted to know more about that. And then there was a brand, I guess. And, and like with Celebrity Substitute, it was the same thing. I was like, what, the kids, at that point, a lot of celebrities were coming on the show and artists and stuff. And it was like, what could these kids learn from the celebrities? And then with Outside Tonight, I'll be quick about it. I was like someone who grew up on late night. I love late night. Late night has exclusively been like a network show. And the internet to me has become this exploded version of a late night show. Like you see all these shows that are a piece of what late night offered as a full package. May it be like a long form interview or like a repeatable game or like a musical segment. And I was like, what if we brought that all back together? And I'm hoping that the brand follows the curiosity and the passion. And I think when building a brand, starting from a genuine curiosity and not just thinking about what might work, what might captivate attention. Like, I never think about that first. I think about what do I need to do as an artist.
I love that. And I think one of the other things that you've talked about is the show Bible, or
Yes.
really the manifesto. So how do you think about the principles that really sit behind what you do and staying true to those in these various new mediums and formats that you're pursuing?
Yeah, I mean, I come from, screenwriting, playwriting, and a big element of that is like the show Bible. It's the like, what do these characters believe in? Who are they? What boundaries do they not cross? Like, what is their given imaginary circumstances? And I think when I started recess therapy in college, I didn't know I'd be doing it for 5 years. I'm still surprised I'm doing it now. But before we started, I went, okay, I'm going to be working with kids. I need to take this very seriously. What are things that I will do? What are things that I won't do? Like, what are the boundaries of the show? And I found that list like maybe a year ago, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that I have not compromised my values on this show. Which segues, it is sometimes hard to work with brands on recess therapy because it is very clear what it is. Like the show is asking kids what they think about something. It is not showing kids something. It is not asking them to do something. It is getting their genuine ideas. When I started Celebrity Substitute, and now when I'm starting Outside Tonight, knowing that brands are a key component of this ecosystem of like how these shows work in building the show Bibles, which I did again, or manifestos, sounds scarier. I was like, okay, how can we make brands a part of the storytelling in a way that doesn't compromise the story? So with Celebrity Substitute, we exclusively have worked with Amazon to date, and every episode we go into this school, and a core part of it is what does this school need? Do they need a new library? When Malala came on, we gave the school an entire new library through Amazon. How can we, with A$AP Rocky, we built a recording studio in this school in Harlem. Like, we see how we can use the brand to elevate the story and unlock something that we couldn't do otherwise, while also still telling the exact same story that we were going to tell anyway. With with Outside Tonight, I'm referencing this, but I don't know where it is up there. It's like, remember on a Zoom call when you're like, and it's somebody else? Anyway, with Outside Tonight, and if there's any cool brands in the audience, hit me up, we're working with a bunch of brands, and they're built into like the interstitials and the games and the interviews, working with like Chase and all these cool spots. But anyway, yeah, you build it in and you make sure it works and doesn't sacrifice the story. I'll stop talking.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's a good transition. So I'm going to jump around. Shay, I'm going to come to you. So Shay, you started She Is This, and you did it also, by the way, working another full-time gig at the same time, because you talked about how you didn't see yourself reflected in art. And I started this session by kind of talking about money, which I know is never super fun to talk about. But how did you think about building a strong brand and this engaged community? Because what I've been so impressed by is your community has stayed with you. And then how do you think about taking that community and starting to monetize it?
Well, for me, y'all probably won't know this because I'm on a stage, but stage fright and nervousness and being in front of a camera is a really big thing for me. And so for the longest time, when I started had my business, I was always like, I'll just be in the background. It's fine. I'll have a nice logo. I have a great product, and then nobody will care who's behind me. And so what I ended up having to do was really lean into, the only issue with that was that I'm a terrible salesperson. So I can't sell you water if you are about to, you know what I mean? So I said, you know what? I've got to get in front of the camera. And so at that point, I realized that people wanted genuine authenticity. If you are a small business, a lot of times we don't want to be we want to seem like we're a huge corporation. We don't want to, I want to be really professional, and that logo has to be tight, and that business card has to be perfect. But really, what helped for me was to come from behind the camera, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is the person that's making my product. Being a small business, like I said, it always sometimes comes off like a bad thing. Oh, I can't fulfill that order. They want 50,000. There's no way. I'm too small. Oh, I, forgot that order and didn't mail it. Oh my goodness, I'm small. I'm a small business. But being small is great. You don't have to outsource, and it's just you. You are the person behind the camera. You're the one that's doing everything. So that allows you to kind of give people a behind the scenes take. Growing up, I've always watched the show, and I love to see the bloopers. I want to see the behind the scenes. And so for me, I've noticed that my tribe, as my mom calls, she said, do the stuff and the tribe will come. They enjoy, seeing my dog or seeing my process. I'm trying to shoot, for Christmas, I was trying to shoot a little coffee cocoa bar thing, and he jumped into the picture. And so instead of, editing, be like, okay, move, I'm gonna redo it. He's in the picture. Here's the thieves trying to get the marshmallows. And so that gains that engagement because that's relatable. That's funny. We all have pets. We all have, we don't live in these clean, pristine situations. So like I said, for me, just really leaning into being small, showing that I am small, it's just me. Sometimes I'll get messages, hey, this is for the office of Shay or like the assistant. I'm like, who are you? It's just me. You got me. Or like I'll get a DM and they'll be like, thanks for answering. Yeah, shoot, so they enjoy that. Like I said, most people just assume it's some big corporation, but I've been able to, or, not my business, but just businesses in general. When you say you have a business, they think it's so, structured or like a certain way. And I'm like, it's just a girl with a business, you can reach out. So that's been how I've been able to connect with that community. I just show them who I am. I'm goofy, silly. They see my mistakes. They see my progress. Before they even see a product, they'll see me designing, the work in progress. Some of the prints on the screen, they've seen me start it, before it became a finished piece. And then that builds that relationship and that authenticity and connection.
Well, and to the point on authenticity then, and not being a salesperson, how did you start to see the monetization? Like, how did you start to have people pay increasingly and ask them to do that?
Like you said the answer, that I built that tribe, that community. So now that's where I go. So a lot of times, instead of having to start a business and you don't have any answers or you don't know what's going to sell, you're just guessing, I have this whole group of people that I can ask now, right? So for instance, sometimes I crowdsource the information. So if I want to come up, like I want to put a design on a shirt, I said this happened. I was going to do black and white graphics a couple years ago. And I was so proud of those shirts. I love a good black shirt with white words on it, clearly. I was like, yeah, that'll be perfect. I got to putting those out there, didn't sell not a one. I was shocked. So then I said, okay, well, what's going on? So I would notice that people would ask me, they'd see a print, very colorful, and they'd say, put that one on a shirt. And then I learned from my tribe that, they really don't like black and white shirts. They want, they want something colorful on there. So that's how you're able, you don't have to wonder, you don't have to guess. You've got this group that's followed you, that's honest. They'll tell me if they don't like something. I'll ask them, hey, do y'all want this shirt in white or you want it in orange? Whatever I want to know, that's who I'm going to because those are the people that are going to buy it anyway.
I love that. Andrea, it's probably a perfect segue over to you. So very different type of medium. You taught yourself how to turn wool into a medium, and now with partnerships with Netflix and Coachella, and I know we'll talk in a moment about Feltopia, very exciting. How do you recognize when an unconventional idea actually has legs to it and it's worth pursuing?
Yeah, so there are a lot of things that come into my mind when I'm thinking about what I'm going to work on next. And so I would start with, does it bring you joy? Do you actually enjoy the day-to-day of your idea and what it really takes to get the work done? Because sometimes it'll be months, sometimes it'll be years. And so, you could like the idea of it, but until you actually try it out and realize that it's something that really brings you joy, that's one really good sign. And then what is your metric of success? Is it all about making money, making a living? And if so, I think it's important to understand where the money comes from in your industry and just sort of come up with actionable goals to meet. So, but there are so many other great ways to measure success, whether it's the skills that you learn, the people that you meet, the connections that you make. So just, having a clear idea of what you're trying to get out of it. And then also, your tolerance for risk. How much risk are you willing to stomach? And do you have a safety net? And so, if you're young, you're right out of school, and you have a lot of free time, that's a great time to shoot for the goal. But if you have like kids and you have to make a living and your life is full, I think having that sort of side hustle with a day job is always a really good path to take. And then finally, yeah, do you have a hook? What's your unique offering that's going to grab people's attentions? And in this day and age, we have to have either that visual style or the story that is going to draw people in. And so, yeah, if you have a hook, if you have passion for the idea, if you can absorb the risk, yeah, I think it's probably has some
Worth
legs.
doing. It has some legs to it.
Yeah.
And can you tell our audience too about Feltopia? How did you run that through the same framework? I assume it hit on all those.
Yeah,
boxes.
well, it became very clear very fast that this was going to be the biggest and riskiest project that I had ever taken on. And so there were many times along the journey where I really had to do some soul searching and figure out, like, is this something that I actually want to continue doing? And even like a year and a half into the project, we completely scratched it all. We tossed it all away and started over. And but that has allowed me to come back with a stronger angle and vision for what we want to create. And I think it's also a lesson for me in that, like, you don't always get it on the first try. Sometimes there's a lot, you can learn from these perceived moments of failure that can actually set you up for success in the long run.
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to transition into some speed round questions now, and I'm going to mix that. Maybe, Julian, I'm going to start with you. As you look back, what's the one thing you wish you had known when you were starting on this journey around creating a thriving business?
Oh boy, the one thing I wish I knew. I mean, I'm just gonna rattle some things off. One, I've learned the wrong way about. This is maybe not an interesting thing to say. I'll say it. I like never stop. I'm like a little bit obsessive and like love what I do more than anything. And I think you can't make your best work from like a depleted place. And this is something that I wish I'm telling myself to know today and always. But like being able to not get yourself to a spot where you need to bounce back, but get to a spot where you were taking rests and coming at it from like a level and clear-headed spot. I feel like my friends and I all just go so hard all the time, and then like we're not making our best stuff. So I'm saying it, and also to myself, like I wish I knew how to like balance and find balance in the work. Because also there's so many beautiful things outside of your work.
That is.
I'm really just talking to myself right now.
I think you're talking to all of us.
I was really,
so
really,
I
was just relating what you were
it.
saying, like with this late night thing. Like it's hard. It's hard to take a real big risk on something, and I think, yeah, it's exciting but so scary sometimes. Yeah.
It really is.
Andrea, what would you add to that?
So what's the question? What do I wish I knew
knew.
when I was
Yeah,
first
when you were
starting out?
starting.
Yeah. Well, for me, it is that your work has value, monetary value, and that you should not be afraid to charge for your work. Because I spent years at the beginning of my career undercharging and apologizing for it. And as soon as I was able to actually charge a livable wage, and I feel like my clients also respected that as well. And yeah, I spent way too many years not charging what I should have been charging.
Very good one. Shay, over to you.
I think my biggest one would be to make the stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, I had all the logos, I had all the business cards. I can't tell you how many business cards I threw away or how many just that I never used. And it was like the website was pristine, but where's the product? And then on the other side of that, I meet so many people that'll show me. I know one guy, he makes beard oil. He's got all these oils, and I'm like, well, where are you selling it at? So like, but he's got the product. And like, if you're trying to sell something, you can't sell your logo, you can't sell your business card. You have to have the product. And so just going ahead and getting that to the forefront first and then working out the other parts. I think if I'd known that sooner, I would have had a stronger product base and wouldn't have spent so much time, again, trying to have great branding and no product. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here now, and that's fantastic, but I would have liked that earlier.
Shay, I'm gonna go the other way. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, you know what? I think the answer to that is supposed to be that I want my business to just be, but like you mentioned, I am full time and I actually do enjoy having a full time job and having a business. And so I am perfectly fine if in 5 years my business is just where it is right now. And I know that's a crazy thing to say when everybody's thinking growth, growth, growth. But I think it's very important that if you have a business that you're supposed to enjoy it, it shouldn't be like a thing that you're always shooting for, like, I gotta get better, gotta get better. So right now I'm so fine. So if in 5 years I still have my small business and I work full time, I am
Great
perfectly
with
fine.
that.
I'm great with that. Yeah.
I love it.
5 years.
Yeah.
In 5 years, I would love for Feltopia to be out in the world and a massive success. Maybe working on game 2 or perhaps a feature film or a TV series. But I also just am enjoying building a team of people and sort of see my role evolving from just sort of like a single creator working in my basement to sort of, a collaborative experience with more people. So that's my hope.
I love it. Okay, Julian, you want to finish it?
I can't
Is it the
think
king
past-
of late night? What are you getting?
Well, I don't know. I can't think past August right now. That's my world goes until then. But I don't know. Like I hope I've made 1 or 2 feature films. Like I hope I, am. I don't know. I never. I feel like I come up with stuff all the time, and then
love
I
it.
never know what. I hope I'm doing something I love doing, and like whatever new idea comes my way, I hope I give it 110%. And I hope I got some good new recipes I know how to make. I've been making the same 3 things for like
Well, if
10
they work,
years.
they work.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. You guys, thank you all so much for being here and for joining us today. And I hope it inspired you, but you also take advantage, figure out how to plug into more of the Canva ecosystem and opportunities. And we can't wait to see what you do next. So thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.